Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show Weekly podcast with me, Sam. By the way, we are back again for episode 22 of the podcast, once again brought to you by our partners, Moonrise Sports. Make sure you check them out across social media. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at the Women's Summer Series, the Under-20 series taking place over the next few weeks at Stadio Sergio Lanfranchi in Parma. This series is really important for kind of the development of all the 20 teams in kind of growing from the under-18s level, where they have the under-18 Six Nations Festival, to senior level, because it's the first time this tournament's ever happened. It's the first time from the teams will have played each other at under-20s level, and it's the first time Scotland have actually had an under-20s team. In this episode, we're going to be talking to Leat and Sophie Langford from England under-20s, and also Scotland under-20s head coach Claire Cruikshank and their fullback Lucia Scott. Before we get into this episode, make sure you check us out across all social medias, and once again a reminder to check out our partners, Moonrise Sports. Sophie, just first of all, thank you so much for taking time today. Just how have you been and how's camp been so far?
Yeah, camp's been really good. We came in yesterday afternoon, so we've had like a day at least now, just getting back into the rhythm of things. We had a really good session yesterday, so it's been good to start the week off strong.
And obviously, it's been quite a long old season for yourself with Bucks,
Mhm.
with Chiefs, with 20s. Just kind of how enjoyable has it been so far, and how kind of tough has it been to keep going? God, it's July now, so how long? How
Yeah,
how long has the season actually been for you?
12 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
12-month season. So it's been quite a bit of a long one, but it's been really good because I've just had so many different tastes of rugby this year. And so it's just added lots of value to my game.
and just you've obviously got quite an interesting kind of rugby journey, rugby background to wearing an England under-20 shirt. Just can you kind of talk us through a little bit about kind of where you've come from and how you've got to an England shirt?
Yeah, so I started playing rugby in Hong Kong when I was 9 and basically played all up through the age grade, like national age grade stuff, till I was about 16 when my family moved to Edinburgh. And I played for 2 years there. I played in the first under 18 Six Nations for Scotland. And then I moved to Exeter during my gap year and just signed a contract with Chiefs. And Susie had me playing a little bit of cup, maybe a prem game here and there. But yeah, and then I've been in Exeter since. Started uni this year as well. That's been really good, the Bucks side of it. Poppy's really good at managing us between Chiefs and uni, so we're getting game time whenever we can. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. And obviously, you mentioned playing for Scotland then in the first under 18s kind of Six Nations tournament. Are there any of this 20 squad that you played against and when you would have played against England then?
We didn't actually play against England in the Six Nations, but there were quite a few of them there at the Six Nations that I kind of remember sort of seeing a little bit of. But yeah, it's been kind of surreal because like if I when we played France, I knew them a little bit from under 18 Six Nations. So it's kind of interesting being on the other side of things now. And I'll obviously see all my Scotland friends when we go to Six Nations tomorrow.
And you kind of touched on books there, but just kind of how important is that as a pathway and how important affects the university? You mentioned Pop, she's got such a big role there. Just how important is that being for your development this year?
It's been immense. You know, you only get better as a player the more games you play. And I've played a lot of minutes this year, and I've been really fortunate in that there is such a good system and pathway within Exeter. I mean, there are quite a few other clubs that also have a really good pathway, working with the uni and the Prem side, such as like Gloucester and Loughborough. And I think it's just so important because you can see how well those teams do in both their competitions. So I just think that just says how important it is for those pathways to be as concrete as they are.
Mhm. And obviously, there's so much kind of international talent in that Exeter side, the Chiefs side. Just what have you learned from players like Gabby Cantona in the centres, and also kind of some of the other players who have those international experiences, perhaps not in your position?
Yeah, um, just constantly learning off of them. Anytime you get a chance to talk to them, they're always so helpful. Gabby Cantona, especially, I've worked quite closely with her in the past couple of years, and she's always there, like ready to listen or help me out if I need anything. Yeah, she's brilliant.
Mhm. And when you were playing in Scotland, was it at Heriot? Is that right?
Yeah, Harriet. Yeah.
And just kind of how was that for kind of starting your rugby career and kind of kicking on at such a young age and kind of the first kind of time playing proper rugby in the UK?
Um, our head coach Rona was really good to me. She she brought me in when I was 16, 17, when I couldn't really play any of the senior stuff, and I was just training, and she'd have me in, like, being involved completely and stuff. And having that first taste of like senior women's rugby, like, made me actually think, oh, like, this is something I really want to do. Because, you know, when you're through the age grades, it doesn't get as competitive as it does at the senior women's level. So I was really fortunate in that Heriots was such a welcoming club, and they just welcomed me and let me train. And then in the last game of the season, I was allowed to play, so managed to get in for that.
Was that at 17 or were you 18 at that point?
I was still 17, yeah. I got dispensation finally from the Scottish Rugby Union to play for them. So yeah, it was really exciting. And everyone was so happy for me. It was a really, really special day. Yeah.
And you mentioned you kind of went to Chiefs in your gap year. Just how did that kind of move come about? And was it kind of Susie being really instrumental in that?
Um, well, Rona, my coach at Harriet, actually knew Susie. They used to play either against each other or with each other. I can't quite remember. So she got in touch with Susie and said, kind of, you know, hey, like, Sophie's really interested in, you know, taking rugby a bit further. And then my dad and I went down to Exeter, met with Susie, and after that, it was just kind of like, okay, I'll do preseason and see how it goes. And then I got offered a contract, and yeah, it's just been an Exeter since.
And how enjoyable is it kind of playing under someone who has such a good influence like Susie?
It's really good. You know, she's very hands on. She's very involved, and there's nothing she wouldn't do for the team. You know, she's always there fighting in our corner and giving us the best opportunities that we can get. Yeah, so really grateful for her for going that extra mile with us. As you know, being a woman in rugby is not the easiest thing in the world, and she makes it as easy as she can.
I'm kind of just looking ahead for the next few weeks now, obviously, with the summer series. Just how important is it kind of development of the players in England, but also for the other Six Nations sides too, and kind of to see that competition grow in the next few years?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really instrumental over the next few years with bridging the gap between under 18s and senior women's rugby. You know, it's quite a big jump to go from under 18s to senior rugby. So it's really important to have that pathway and the under 20s competition to help those players ease into that transition. You know, it's also been very successful. You know, my housemates, Maisie Allen, Nancy McGillivray, Katie Buchanan, they've all got transitional contracts now, and they came through the pathway. So I just think it's so important into building the depth into the England squad.
I was going to ask you about the kind of those players who kind of have made that step up. Just does that kind of inspire you to know that this is an option? This is I can do this. I can show this. So does that kind of inspire you with those four you just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. I knew Nancy also back in Hong Kong because she was there when I was there, and it was nice to have a friendly face as well when I first came to Exeter. But also living with them and like being quite close with them is, you know, it's made me see like this is the work they put in, but you know they get a lot of benefits from it. Like they're playing the sport they love for professionally. You know, that's the dream, isn't it? Really. So yeah, it's been really good.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, summer in Parma is a little bit different to kind of rugby season in the UK weather-wise. Just has there been kind of any warm weather work or kind of training to kind of fit round what the weather's going to be like out in Parma?
Yeah, so in Parma, we're going to be training in the evenings so that we're not out in the heat, since all our games are in the evenings anyway as well. And I think we've had a bit of conditioning to do when we're at home and stuff, just keeping us fit while the season has finished for the clubs, still keeping us fit for when we need to go to Parma. Yeah.
And just finally, kind of what are you most looking forward to over the next few weeks, kind of about playing the game, kind of different opposition, some you haven't played since under 18s level, and just kind of a new bit of rugby?
Yeah, just really excited to play a bit of rugby with the new group. You know, we're quite a young group as well, I'd say. So it's very exciting. And just to enjoy it, I think that's the most important bit about what you do in the pathways, to enjoy all these new opportunities you get.
Perfect. Sophie, thank you so much for chatting today, and best of luck for the next few weeks.
Thank you. Bye.
So, Kira, just first of all, thanks so much for taking your time out to chat to me today. Just kind of how have you been and kind of how's camp been so far?
Camp's been good so far. But yeah, I've been good. Just came back from a holiday with my family and my partner. So just been chilling. Had to do all the running out in Crete though, so that wasn't the best. Other than that, camp's been really good. Girls have been getting on well. We've got a few of we've got the whole under 19s girls here as well. So it's good to see them all. Good to see who could be coming up. And yeah.
Yeah. And at least the running in Crete will get you used to kind of the temperatures out in Parma there.
Yeah, I know. But it was mainly me waking up either really early or doing it really late at night after we've just had a barbecue or something. So it wasn't the best feeling in the world, but we had a pool to get into after, so not so
And
bad.
obviously, you've just come back off the back of the kind of first season at Trailfinders. Just how's it kind of
Yeah.
been stepping into that new environment this season?
I have loved it because obviously I was at Quinn's last season. I don't know if you knew that. I was at Quinn's last season. Um, had a good time, met some really nice friends, but wasn't quite right for me. And I found that at Trailfinders we could all be in an environment which was totally new and we could create what we wanted it to be. And we didn't have like any special like cliques or anything. So it was nice to everyone have like a starting point and we all get to know each other for like who they are. You don't need to like pretend to be anything.
I was actually going to kind of ask about kind of it being the first season of
Yeah.
Trailfinders that kind of made that more special, stepping in there and being kind of the first group to be the Trailfinders.
Yeah. I think it was really, really good. So obviously when we very first started, we've got another one this season. We went on tour and it was a good chance to like push everyone out of the comfort zone. Like Giselle's whole thing this season and for the foreseeable has been like big getting in the gap. And I think tour pushed everyone in places they didn't want to be, jumping off of things, canoeing into like big waves. It was crazy. So, but it's been a great experience, and it was also good to see like all of the coaches working together for the first time as well, seeing how like they worked it out.
What's Giselle been like to work with? You were at Wasp CV, weren't you, originally?
Yeah,
So
I was at
did you kind of work with Giselle there, or was it kind of this your first kind of time working with her?
when I was at Wasp CV, it was mainly Gert and Nolly Waterman who was like the main coaches for me. But there was like a couple sessions where we would like a few of us would go up and train with the women where Giselle would be leading it. But I've met her before that because she actually used to coach my brother when
Okay.
he was playing London Irish for I think it was the academy or something like that. I don't know actually what he did, but it was at the academy and I met her there. So that's how it all kind of worked
Mm-hmm.
together.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of what is she like to work under? Obviously, she's one of the biggest names in women's rugby coaching. Just kind of how nice it to work on someone who's kind of considered such a legend in the game.
Yeah, I mean, she is kind of like someone I'd really look up to because she's obviously the first woman, sorry, to have the level 4 in the south, I believe, or southeast, something like that. And that's something I want to do as well. I want to get the level 4. I want to become a coach, and I think to see someone do it who's like also your leader, also your coach, is just a great person to look up to, and I really respect her for it. And I think how she's adapted this team this season has just been great. Like I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
want to change club anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, you did you go from Wasps to Hartpury, or was that kind of Wasp while you were at Hartpury?
So I just got to think. Yeah, so I was at Wasp when I was 15, and then
Mm-hmm.
when I was 16, I went to Hartpury College for 2 years, where I Wasps and Hartpury was a bit far away, so I went to Gloucester C of V as well, but it wasn't very like good standard, so we mainly just stayed at Hartpury, and then that's when I did England under 18s, did the England under 18 Six Nations first one, and then luckily enough I'm back here now, so we get to do the first under 26 Nations as well, so that's pretty cool.
Kind of, oh yeah, so I've seen kind of so many people gone through Hartpury and kind of
Mhm.
within the PWR within the 20s. Just was there anybody in your year that's currently in this 20s team
Yeah, so
while you were there?
I was just sat with Tori Sellers. I think you've spoken to her before.
Yeah.
She was my next door neighbour at Hartpury, and so it's good to see her here as well.
Mm-hmm. And kind of, what do you think? about Hartpury kind of makes so many people excel kind of at the top of the game. You see Gloucester Hartpury winning, the PWR, Cheltenham Tigers won the championship, Hartpury Uni won, but kind of what you kind of see is it as a pathway kind of that makes it so special.
No, I think it's really good. I really enjoyed my time at Hartpury, and it's a good place to develop like all ages as well. So like young 16-year-olds through up to Zoe Oldcroft. Like there is a place for everyone there, and everyone's got the same mindset. Like all of my friends had the same mindset of like wanting to play professional rugby, blah 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 blah. We were all in the same like block at I was in, I don't know if you know Hartpury much, but I was in Dingle 1, where everyone was good at the sport and we all had the same intentions, so we'd push each other. And I think that's the main part, is like if your friends want to do it, you want to do it, you just push each other to get better. I think that's why they're so like successful. And they've got like so many like professional people that can help you like with nutrition. I did the DICE course at Hartpury as well, so like nutrition, finances, it just gives you like a whole perspective on it all, which I think really helped.
And just kind of moving on to the summer series of under 26 nations, however you want to kind of spin the name of it. Just obviously the only uncapped player in the squad currently. Just kind of what's it been like, kind of stepping back into the pathway level?
It's been. I was very shocked when I got the call. I wasn't expecting it at all, to be fair. It's going to be an unreal experience, I think. Good opportunity for me to show like how I've progressed over the season. I think at the start of the season, I wasn't very confident in my fitness and my ability in scrummaging. And I think at the summer series, I can really show how I've improved regarding scrums and how much fitter I've got. So I'm looking forward to it.
And just kind of, is it also about kind of the challenge of playing the likes of France, who kind of are so far, seemingly so far ahead at under 20s level and under 18s level, and also kind of testing yourself against players you won't have played against or styles you won't have played against before?
Yeah, so the score line obviously wasn't what we wanted last time, and I'm hoping by coming in I can help hopefully put some points on the board this time. And I think if we set our intentions right, we could give them a good crack at it. I think if we go at it like we're going to lose it, it's not going to go well for any of us. So if we set ourselves good intentions, I think we've got a good shot, and I'm really excited to show what we can do, really.
And just finally, one last question for me. Just how exciting is the potential of a under-20s debut in an England shirt?
I am so proud, and I think I can speak on behalf of everyone. I think everyone's really proud of themselves. Family's proud of everyone. But it's good to just do it for myself, but then do it because I know my parents have worked really hard for me as well. So it's nice. I'm really excited.
One last one. Do you remember who your under-18 debut was again?
Debut Scotland, and I ended up getting an award, which was James Cooper's actually here, my under-18s coach. And he ended up giving me and Ollie Perry's here as well. They gave me Miss Momentum. It's one of like the like Miss Clumsy, Miss Momentum, all that. Yeah. So they ended up giving me an award, which was Miss Momentum, and I think it's probably my proudest moment ever. And I got a cute medal with one of my friends at Hartpury as well. She got one as well. So that was a good experience. That's probably one of my best moments in rugby. Scotland 44-0.
Perfect. So hopefully your under-20s debut kind of lives up to that, and just best of luck for the next few weeks.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been nice speaking to you.
Claire, obviously you mentioned Leia and being in the Six Nations squad. I think there's 4 or 5 who are in that Six Nations squad who all kind of were in that camp. Just how important do you think that experience is going to be for them bringing into this 20 squad?
Yeah, you can see it already. Just the level of competition and training they've had in the senior Six Nations squad has been huge. But what they bring from a leadership perspective, and obviously training and playing alongside the senior team has helped. And they're all just willing to impart that knowledge and share that with everybody, which is really good.
And obviously Talai stepping up from under-18s level. She's the only one in the squad. Just kind of what's impressed you about her, and how impressed were you with her in that under-18 Six Nations?
Yeah, Tally's a young player. She's transitioning to front row as well, so she's with us as a back row. But she carries well. She's got She's got good footwork, pre-contact, good handling skills, and she's just finding her feet at senior level. But she's definitely one to watch for the future.
And a kind of a vast proportion of this squad were involved in Celtic Challenge. Just how vital was that for kind of their development, but also this squad's development going forward?
It gives a different perspective in terms of the competition, so a higher standard than what everyone's used to at club or university. So it definitely has helped prepare us, and obviously having two teams linked to Edinburgh and Glasgow as well has meant that people have spent time together. So there are combinations who've trained and played together over the last 6 months, either through Celtic Challenge and then into under-20s. So it just gives us a preparation going into this competition that if we just pulled together a 20 squad, we wouldn't necessarily have.
And obviously, including Lucia, plenty of players who've come over from that SQP program. Just what's kind of impressed you with some of these players who kind of haven't been involved in potentially Scotland pathway officially so far?
Yeah, I think it brings a fresh perspective. It also challenges the players who are up in Scotland. But they've just fitted in really well, and they've been great additions to the squad, both on and off field. So yeah, it just helps grow our depth in Scotland as well. And it pushes people on. It gives them, a little bit of competition out with the norm.
Yeah, and Lucia, just a few for you, if that's okay. Obviously 2 back-to-back Bucks titles, back-to-back team of the seasons as well. In that, just how important has that Bucks pathway been for you?
Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. I think it's such a great experience and such a great thing to do, and I'd recommend it to anyone. I think it's pushed my rugby on so much, and yeah, I think it's just benefited me in so many ways.
And obviously, being at Hartpury, I think there's 9 current Bucks players from Hartpury, a few more current college players, and a load more ex-college players, including Leia, obviously in the Scotland squad. Just how special of a place is Hartpury? Just kind of how can you describe it? How important it's been for your development?
I think it's just it's always described as one of the best pathways in the world. I think the interchange between the Bucks, the college, and the actual Prem rugby is something pretty special, I'd say. And there's not many other places like it. And I just think it's a great opportunity for lots of young girls to come through.
And how long have you been at Hartpury before? Were you there for college?
Yeah, there for college too. So I've been there for 4 years, going on to my 5th now.
Is there anybody kind of playing in this tournament who was in your side at that college level?
Yeah, so there's a couple of England girls who either went to Hartpury College and maybe moved somewhere else, or maybe didn't go to the college, but in my uni team with me.
And just kind of, obviously, you were in the England under-18s pathway a couple of years ago. Just what's the journey been to the Scotland shirt? And kind of how did this happen, being in a Scotland under-20 shirt and under-26 nations?
I think I had like a really good run with the England under-18s, and it was a great experience for me. I think I was a bit unlucky with some injuries and bits and bobs with that, and then with the 20s, I just didn't quite make the selection, which is just it's just the toss of the coin sometimes. And I think I've just been so lucky to have like Scotland try and pick me up and to be part of this experience instead.
And just forgive the questions, how is it that you qualify for Scotland? Is it through parents or grandparents?
Yeah, parents and grandparents. So my dad and then his parents are both fully Scottish.
So how proud is it going to make them for you running out in a Scotland shirt tomorrow?
So very proud. Yeah, my dad's absolutely buzzing. Can't wait to see me in the.
And what about you? How are your emotions going to be tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really special day. I think it's something I've been looking forward to for such a long time. And yeah, I just don't think I'll be able to describe how I'm going to feel.
Perfect. Cheers, both. Thank you.